Hello, everyone. Good morning. This is Isaac, and welcome to the Performance Analytics and Reporting office hours. I am here today alone because Tom is not here yet. He's not going to join today because we are releasing Madrid. It's becoming general available, and he's going to be present in that meeting. So for people that joined for the first time, this is a bi-weekly call that we have with you. It's an open session. We usually present something shortly so that you can see some of the features we released, and then we are open for questions and answers. So we try to answer most of your questions. There are some that can be a bit more tricky, which I can take them offline and then respond to you through an email. But the next session, I usually present the response I provided so that everyone will benefit from it. Okay, so before I start, are there any questions? Feel free to unmute yourself or write in the chat, by the way. So I am checking both. So feel free to unmute yourself and ask the question or write it in the chat. And before I start with what I want to present, I would like to ask if there are any questions from a previous time or something that we didn't address. I believe I answered all the questions. If there is anything, please let me know, or I will move ahead and start presenting something for you. Okay, so since I do not have any feedback, I will start right ahead. So for today, there were two things that I wanted to demonstrate. One was a request that came a couple of sessions ago, because the previous session we had the PM for Spotlight who presented the Spotlight and the features of it. So, and I didn't have the time to present the request that came in a separate email. So the question was if there is any way to track in ServiceNow and with performance analytics the time that it takes for an incident to be raised. So what I did, I created a field on the incident table, as you can see here. So these are the incidents that were raised yesterday, actually. And in this field, the time before previous incident, I calculated the duration between the time that this incident was created with the previous one. This can be done quite easily from your administrators if you are not very familiar with business rules, or you can even write it on your own. I will just show you how exactly I did it so that you can take a look. And then I will explain how we transfer this into performance analytics so that it will be easier. Okay, so I created this business rule, set duration from previous incident. And here I use this script. So all this script does, it is actually calculating, it goes to the incident table, it's checking that the creation date when a new incident is raised is less than the creation date of the incident that we are currently viewing. And it makes sure that the sysID is not the same because, well, we are using the equal, so it could have picked up the same record. So we exclude the same record, and that's how we calculate the date and time that it was raised. And then we just use a subtract, which is an API that comes out of the box in our platform, and then that's how we calculate the duration. So having this stored on the table itself makes it easy for you to report, and then at the same time you can generate, you can create an indicator. Actually, it's this one, duration between incidents. And the only thing you have to do is just, I suppose you just want to pick up the average time that it takes for an incident to be raised, and then you just select the field, it's time before previous incident. And yeah, then you collect, you can create your widgets, and you can see the time that it took between incidents.
Question on that. if you have an opportunity.
In the demo instance, I do not have too many incidents raised, but I can also demonstrate how it looks when we create a new incident and how the calculation is done. So I'll just pick up a user. And just move back to the incident list. So this is the incident that I just created, and the calculation was done automatically. So let me go back. I've seen that there is a message in the chat. Okay, I see the following error in my log. So that's for a collection, fetch too many rows from indicator source in the BCI, allowed 50,000, fetch 2,000. How to handle this? Okay, so that in a previous office hour session that we had, I explained the properties that we use for data collection. So I'm going to show again the properties and what each one of these means. So here, collections. Sherry, I'll come back to you right after this. So the first question that I received was about this property. So the number of maximum rows that are allowed to be fetched from an indicator source, and this is 50,000 out of the box, as you mentioned, Jack. The reason why we have this property is not to forbid you from changing it, but it's a warning. The question here is, do you really want to have this number of records in your indicator source? Is these 200,000 records the ones that you want to collect? If this is true, then this is what you want, then you should consider changing the property and change it to something not as the value is today. Keep in mind that your number of CIs will change in the future, so you can give a value a bit higher than the one that you currently have, so you can make it 300,000, for example. But you have to try to keep it. I mean, do you really, I suppose you don't want to have an indicator on every CI. It's not reporting PAs for aggregating the data that you want to see. So I don't exactly know your configuration of your indicator, but yes, this is the property that you need to change. Yeah, I can actually show you the name of the property. Your administrators and your PA admin can use it. Yeah, okay, yeah, that's true. So this is the property, you can change it. Just make sure that the record set that is retrieved is the one that you actually need. If this is the record set that you need, then it's okay. You just need to change the property. Is that okay, Jack? I'm sorry, I know not everyone can see the messages because they are sent privately to me. So that's why I answered to Jack. Okay, thank you, Jack. So the next question is from Sherry. Why did I make the script in a business rule instead of creating it as a scripted indicator? Yeah, that's something that we are being asked quite often. And the main reason why we do it, actually, there are two reasons. First of all, is if you do it only in PA, then you keep your logic only in performance analytics. So you will limit your users actually to always be able to get what they need. And you put all this logic on performance analytics and not in reporting. So if you might have a user that is using a widget that views this indicator, that is using where you calculated this with a script. But if he's trying to create a report where he can see on daily basis how things go, so for example, you might want something today to look how are things going on today. You cannot set the performance analytics scripted indicators to work real time because they are scripted, and then you will not be able to get that information. So usually what I suggest most of the people when it makes sense, and this is a use case where it does actually make sense, to create a field on the table itself where we can calculate actually the value that is required. So having this value here in the list, it helps all your users to be able even to create a report, because most of your users have access to your incident table and they can create reports on their own. So they can use this field to create a report, and at the same time you can use the trending capabilities of PA to be able to create widgets, and then you can see the trend going on, or you can even create a breakdown based on the hour of the day that the incidents are being raised, and then you can actually find out what is the most busy period of the day out of this. Did this answer your question, Sherry?
Can you hear me? I guess you can't hear me. No, created more questions.
Okay, I will.
Sherry, just so you know, I can hear you.
Okay, that's a good thing. That's why we are here, to answer more questions.
Okay. Why am I even using performance analytics if I'm going to create business rules? I don't know.
Feel free either to unmute yourself and you can ask the question, or you can even type them. I do not mind. I'm afraid I cannot hear you.
Well, I'm not talking.
Okay.
I wasn't talking then, but can you hear me now?
Okay, sorry. Yes, I can. Yes.
Okay. So I guess it just concerned me because I would see the use case where system administrators may be a separate group from the people maintaining performance analytics. And I would see a best practice of, if I'm going to create a business role, then I'm going to have to put that in, in an update set in dev test prod, for example.
Yes.
And that's harder to maintain going forward versus doing the script in performance analytics. I guess I'm already fighting with performance analytics enough that if I can turn around and do it all in business rules, why do I even need to pay for performance analytics to begin with? So it's probably a bigger scope than you want to tackle, but that's perplexing to me.
Yeah, I totally understand what you're saying. Okay, so first of all, if you create it in performance analytics, you won't be able to use it in reporting, right? And then reporting is actually how your data looks at the moment that you're running the report, but PA gives you the trending capabilities, right?
Well, so let's talk about that. I would assume if I'm creating it in performance analytics, it's going to comport to reporting. So what am I missing there?
No, performance analytics is actually creating, it's storing the aggregations. So let me show you how we store data. So in our platform, we have one or two different tables, depending on the release you are on and if we migrated the scores. So I'm going to move to the latest version of the score so that you'll understand. So when a performance analytics collection job runs, we actually store the records in this table, scores level 1 and level 2, which usually only PA admins have access to view. And as you can see, we store the indicator, the breakdown, the element, the start at, which is the date that we collected the data for, the value, and then the domain field. And at the same time, we have scores level 2, where each one of these values, if there are second level breakdowns or you have breakdown matrix, that's where we store the values for the second level breakdowns. And this is how PA works. So based on these values, because we store the data per date as the data were in that date, that's how we trend, okay? And that's how we know that for a month ago, we know the values as they were for the incident table, although the values changed since then. And that's why we know an incident was in category A 2 days ago, but yesterday it moved to category B. And then but we store the aggregations. We don't store the complete record as it was, just the aggregation of it, okay? And the breakdowns as they are configured. So in reporting, you cannot come to this table and start creating reports out of it, because this table contains really a lot of records, and it is meant to be used in a certain way by performance analytics, and that's how performance analytics widgets retrieve the data for. Reporting, on the other hand, it goes directly to the data tables where you store the data. So when you are creating a report, you'll go directly on the incident table and you'll create a report out of it. You cannot trend based on the value of the incident as they were 2 days ago, right? Because we don't store the historic values in reporting. We just have the current state of the records.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so this is the big difference between reporting and PA. So And that's why when you use it in PA, you'll be able to use it when you create your script in PA, it will be used in PA. You'll have it on your dashboards as PA widgets, but your reporting users will not be able to use that calculated value that you created in performance analytics. And that's why I mentioned that for me, it's always better to create it like this instead of creating it just in PA, because then you put your logic in PA. On the other hand, I totally understand you. Well, there are different procedures and policies in companies on how and who can create records or fields. And sometimes I did, I did hear as well some complaints in quotes from PA admins that their system administrators are not really willing to create fields, so they had to go the other way and just to create the script in PA until their admins had the time to implement it in the platform.
So then one minor follow-up question to that. So then the script, the scripted indicator that I have,
yes,
I'm guessing, and it's a very simple script. It's doing a weighted average between two fields. I'm guessing it's not working because I actually have to create that as a business rule.
No, the average is the aggregation you can specify on your indicator. So because
right, but it's taking two fields, and I had to do it. I still can't get it to work, which is why I logged in here today, hoping I could get an answer. But it sounds like it's because I don't have that script as a business rule.
No, actually you could get it. I will, what I'll do, I'll send you in a private message my email. If you can give me the exact example and the script that you wrote, I can answer back to you what is not working and why, and we can solve it out offline.
Okay. All right. I appreciate it. Thanks. I won't take up any more time. Appreciate it.
No, there's no matter of the time, but yeah, it's a bit of a troubleshooting, and yeah, we are here usually answering generic questions. So I will just give you my email address, and then we can take it offline and we'll solve it. Okay.
Okay. Thanks.
Thank you. Okay, and now there was a question. Jack, I do answer both type of questions as based on my knowledge, both PA and reporting. So feel free to ask any type of questions you have. So my next question is from Christine. So I'm asking for, the question is a community here. Problem is cascading filter. First level allows me to choose portfolio. Second level only contains all in drop down. See screenshots in the link. Okay, so this is a community question. So you have a portfolio project and you would like to have cascading filters. So one should, okay.
Yes, this is Matthew. I'm sitting in for Christine, and I'm pretty new to PA, so I can't answer a lot of questions from you. But she's was hoping that she could get she's not getting a response on the community, and she's hoping that you could take a look at it and maybe help answer the question.
Yes, I will take a look at it and I will answer her question. But it's going to take, well, I'll have to take a look at the community now and see what exactly she posted. Is it okay if I take that offline, because it's a certain configuration, I suppose, that she created? And I will answer the community, and then in the next office hours, I will also present the answer. I think it will be interesting for everyone to know. And yes, I will do that. Okay?
Okay, great.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, the next question is from John. Is there a way in PA dashboards that I can select multiple assignment groups from the breakdown source? Okay, at the moment, up until now, it is not possible. When we are, let me just demonstrate in the dashboards how it looks. So let me pick up, I think, incident management. Okay. Assignment groups. Okay, I have companies instead of assignment groups. So what John is asking is if it would be possible to multi-select here instead of one company or a group, to multi-select more than one. and including Madrid, we do not have this functionality. But okay, I'll give you a short insight on it, but we are currently working on it, and it would be possible in a future release. So at the moment, there are two, okay, the only way to multi-select at the moment is only for reporting when you have interactive filters, where you can define an interactive filter with multi-select options. But that applies only to reports. It doesn't apply on your PA widgets. But in a future release, we will have this functionality. I'm afraid I cannot reveal more because we are developing on it at the moment. So I'm not sure when we're going to release it. One of my groups dynamic selection, but on the widget instead of the report. Yes, one of my groups, yeah, but this requires, okay, the problem, John, is not to multi-select. The problem is from, as I explained earlier, let me show you how we store the records so that you'll understand where the difficulty comes. So as you can see here, for example, I have this breakdown, which is vulnerability business service, and 1, 2, 3 elements. Let's say that these are your assignment groups. So you would like to store these 3 different assignment groups to be shown on your widget. But as you can see here, this, if it's a sum or a count, probably we can sum these to 89 and it would be okay. But when it comes to average, for example, then things become a bit tricky because you cannot give an average of averages, right? That would be a wrong value. And because we don't calculate, that's why it took us some time, and that's what we are working on, how to work around this so that we will show actually correct results. For sum and count, it's okay, but for averages, for example, it's not possible to give this value. And sorry, did you say something, John?
Yes. So what I was trying to get at with the one of my groups portion, I know that on a report, say I have a manager, for example, who's trying to view their different teams, but with the breakdown source I'm currently using, they have to go individually and look at these teams. Is there a way, much like with reports, I can say I want to view incidents open for dynamic one of my groups? Is that possible for widgets? So I could have a widget that when they open the dashboard, it'll automatically show them their groups and put that number together so they can view it all at once? Or is that only possible in the reporting feature?
No, the feature exactly as it's working currently in reporting, it's only reporting, but in PA you can do something different. If you want to group their numbers, then instead of using their assignment group, and if the person that wants to view them is the manager, you can create a related breakdown and just say the manager of the assignment group. And then instead of putting the assignment groups on your dashboard, you can put the manager, and the manager can select himself and he will see the values only for his assignment group, which will give him the same value.
Which breakdown would that be again? Because I know I've seen group member owners, but I'm not sure how to actually navigate to assignment group managers. Okay, that's a dot working. So what you need to do is you need to create another breakdown, which is called the managers of the groups. So if it's your incident, so how you can create it. So you'll need to create a breakdown source for managers. Theoretically, there is one out of the box for users active. All the users are actually managers, and managers is just a field on the sys user group table, right? So your breakdown source will look as exactly as the users active. Well, if you want to have only active users or not, that's something you have to decide. And did you say this was, sorry, did you say this was out of the box? Because I don't have users.active.
I don't know which, but this is out of the box, yes. But it depends on the version you are on and which plugins you have activated. I don't know which plugins you have active. I'm going to show you a bit the breakdowns now.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like it was an easy breakdown, though. I could probably just recreate it really quickly, but I was just curious.
Let me see if I have the manager here. That's something I usually create on my own. Okay, so let me see users get active. Okay, I'm going to create one just for this session without Okay, so let's call it manager or groups manager, and then it's users active. Yeah. And then in your breakdown mapping, all you'll have to do is select, for example, if you're looking for incidents, right? Then you'll have to pick up the assignment group, and here you'll have to select your manager. And that's it. Your breakdown is ready. All you have to do is just link this breakdown with your indicator that has as a facts table your incident. And then you will collect actually the managers of all the groups and for all the records. Then the next thing you'll have to do is to create just
Sorry, before you go too much deeper, would you mind showing me that breakdown source again, just so I can recreate that really fast? I saw that it was pretty straightforward. So it's group, okay, group member. It goes to user group member. Yeah, I think that is part of the configuration. It's from a CMDB. So probably if you don't have that, you won't have it. But theoretically, it's pretty straightforward. You can use it. It uses its user group member because there you pick up all the users that have roles, right? You might not want to go to user table. You might have a really big user table, but most of your users might be external users without any roles. And that's why we go through this table. But of course, we pick up only the active ones. Is the user active a dot walk, or is there a piece that is just user active? It's the user active right there. Yeah. It is, as you can see here, it's user.active. It's a dot walk, as you said. No, I'm sorry, under the conditions. Yes, that's what I showed you. It is user.active. Yes. Okay, thank you. Yeah, okay. And then in your breakdown, you create your mapping based on the table. Well, if it's incident, let's say it's assignment group.manager, and yeah, and then it's a breakdown relation that you need to create for your assignment group and your manager based on the assignment group and the assignment group.manager field. And that should be it. We already have it here. We have it with the manager of the assigned to, as you can see here. So instead of assigned to, it should look, I called it groups manager, yes. And the related field will be the manager because there is a manager field on assignment group. And that's it. I think the condition here needs to be removed because in our case, we put it in the breakdown source. And this is the answer to your question. And then what you need to do, just add the manager on your dashboard. And when you select the manager, you will get the values for your indicator based on the groups that he is part of. So at the automated breakdown level, when I actually put in users.active, I don't have any, what do I select for my default elements filter? Or do I select anything? I don't think I understood the question. At the breakdown. At the breakdown? Not the breakdown source. Yes. At the breakdown, you don't need to select anything other than the breakdown source. Okay, that's what I thought. You can create an access control for specific users if you want to use managers only to see them. But yes, that's part of the implementation. Yeah, no, sorry. I'm just trying to follow along really quick here on my end. I've been trying to figure this out for a minute, so it's nice to get to this level. I know this is something that we've been requesting from a lot of our managers and directors. This is something that would be extremely helpful to get through. I will send you also my personal email. You can just send me if you have any questions. Okay. Wonderful. I appreciate it. Yeah. And thank you very much. No, nothing. Thank you for your question. Okay. All right. Okay, so that was the first. Then I'm moving back to Jack. How to report from CIs up to the incident? That's the question. It came privately to me, so most probably the rest of you cannot see it. On the incident, we log the CI of a computer, but we want to know how many laptops from a specific brand are getting incidents. How do you chart that info? Okay, you can get that info with related list conditions. So, okay, let me show you. I'll create the report. So the main question is that in every incident or in some incidents, you have CIs that are linked to it. It's usually a reference field that points to your CMDB CI table. And they would like to have a report
that shows all the different type of laptops, for example, that have that you received incidents from. So I'm going to create a report. Of course, you can do it both with reporting and PA if you want to see the trending of it. Give me 1 second. I'll create. CIs with incidents. Sorry, my instance is a bit slow. But next time, since Madrid is going to be general available, we are going to, I'm going to upgrade this instance, and we are going to have Madrid instance where, and I'll have also a product manager that was going to explain us a bit of what came new in our Madrid release. What did I want to do? Then configure. Just save this. And okay, here as you can see, we have related list conditions. Okay, and then what you can do is just go to incident configuration item. Okay, and it says, well, greater than or equal to 1, which means that you will find all the CIs that have at least one incident assigned to them. So there is an incident that is actually linked with the CIs that you're going to retrieve. So I'm not sure I have any data in this instance. Okay, I do. Sorry, I'll go back. Yeah, so this is how you generate it. You get a list. Okay, I have to filter out the empty ones. And the condition is not there. So I'll set it back again. Okay, let me save this. And let me empty the condition that the description is not empty. Okay, and then you can see the number of CIs. Does this answer your question, Jack? And these are the CIs that have incidents. Of course, in PA, what you can do, you can also do something similar, and then you can find out based on the class name or on the type of your CI, and then you can get a number, how many incidents were raised. Okay, someone is here. Can you please mute yourself? Martin, can you please mute your microphone, please? Okay, let me. Otherwise, I'll have to mute you. Give me a second. Yeah, okay, thank you. Okay, so Jack, I hope I answered your question. So the complete filter. Okay, let me. So the related list condition is to have incidents configuration item greater than 1, greater or equal than 1. So the condition on the table itself, I suppose, well, I just wrote description is not empty. You have to specify your conditions based on what type of CIs you want to capture. But Jack's question was a bit to, he was pointing to me to a specific type of CIs that he wants to check. So you can create your condition on your CIs, and then you can find out if those CIs have incidents raised that are linked to it. So I'm moving to the next question. Can PA show a rolling top 10 trend by a specific time series? Example, top 10 CI incident count per month. Top 10 CI incident count per month, with each month having a different mix of CIs. We only want to collect the top 10 at each monthly collection. Okay, PA can collect the trends, and we can show the trend for any type of information. The most tricky part that you will have is how to collect the top 10. That's the most tricky part, Shannon, to collect, because our condition builder at the moment doesn't give us this option to have top X number of records. And that's something that you'll have to work on a script. If you want, I can share with you a simple script that can be used in any actually table. All you have to do is just specify the number of records, and that will return, based on some conditions that you will set in the script, the top 10 CIs or incidents or any type of record that you want. And if that answers your question, most probably next time I will actually present it to everyone to make it easier so that people can use it. Hopefully in our future releases we will have something that will address this, but fortunately I cannot promise an exact release when we can have it without having you to script your way out. Can you also cover the bucket group use cases? We discussed about bucket groups a couple of sessions ago. I don't know what exactly is your question. How do we use bucket groups? Theoretically, bucket groups is a way to bucket, as the name says, to just have a different category for your breakdowns. So for example, what I demonstrated last time when I had my during office hours, what I did is I created a bucket group for the reassignment count. Let me show you a bit. So what I did here is...
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Yes, wait.
Yeah, mainly, I understand you have covered this before, but I just wanted to confirm, especially for like timestamps, is that a good use case for bucket groups? Because let's say if the customer wants to know like what happened in the past hour versus like past 24 hours from a timestamp perspective, right? Or like a duration perspective. Is that a good use case?
Well,
so you can,
I will show you. Okay, so for example, out of the box we provide this bucket group, which actually it's something similar to report ranges that we use in reporting, right? So more or less you have specific buckets or ranges that you want to report on, and they are standard values, then yes, you can use something like I'm currently showing in my screen, right? You can specify 0 to 1 day or hours, I don't know, whatever type of you want to use.
Can you go to a...
Okay, so if you want to go to that range, now I'm going to ask you, so what are you trying to achieve there? Because PA is, you are going to have, because these are, okay, please tell me your use case and I will explain.
The use case is really, let's say, okay, the use case is on chat sessions.
Okay.
So for chat sessions, they want to know like more interested in like a smaller time range, right? Meaning like if I have like in the past hour, if I have 100 chat sessions open, I want to know like how many were closed, during the past hour. Is that better for like a report, not okay?
Yes, it's better for reporting because reporting will pick up the data on the spot, the ones that are currently stored in the instance, and you can have it on your dashboard and they will, right?
Yeah.
Based
the use case is this though, if they want to, see a trend, not over like a long time, but just over like the past like like 7 days, right? They can still use PA, but they want to use something that's smaller range, meaning like I also want to know for today, for the past 24 hours, right, what has been happening. So report is like not really showing that trend, right? I mean, I'm just saying, like, how do you use a bucket group on a report?
No, it's not a bucket group, it's a report range. So
report range. Okay, so it's not a bucket group. Okay.
No. It's something similar with report ranges. That's what I meant. So okay, let me take this is percentages. I'll pick up. I think no, this is on active field. Let me see. Yes, this is only one field. This to the side, calendar duration. Okay, this looks better. Yeah, as you can see here, for example, the calendar duration, so it picks up the duration field that is on the incident table, and it limits it between days and a year here. Okay, you can go, it uses a duration field, so you can specify how many days, hours, minutes, or seconds.
So you can go to a very small number. You can go even to minutes, right?
And
let's say in the past hour, right? Or past like, okay.
And since you want to have that small minutes, because you cannot actually run your PA collections every minute so that you will update that, the reporting is, I think, more suitable. It is more suitable in your use case.
But on the dashboard, I can still build a widget based on this range.
Yes, correct. You will see
the
way you will create your report. You can add your report on the dashboard and you will see it.
Yeah, you're saying okay, I see what you're saying. So on the dashboard, if I want to show like my chat sessions for the past hour versus past like 12 hours, I should use a report and put with the report range to show that, right?
Yes, correct. Yes, that's correct.
Do I need a different widget for every time range?
No. You will create one widget. Once you specify your ranges here, all you need to do is just, for example, here I'm using the duration field from the incident table. All you need to do is just create a trend report where you will group by actually the field that you are using your report range. The moment you group by this field, the platform will pick up your ranges and it will show based on that value.
Okay, so got it.
One report, you will have everything. Okay?
So it's just one widget. Yeah. Okay.
Yes, correct. One widget.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Moving forward, Kelly is asking that she cannot see. Okay, Kelly, I just verified that the user.active was part of the content pack for CMDB. And yes, if you do not have your CMDB, then we will. You will not have that breakdown source, but as you can see, it was pretty straightforward. Okay, next. Okay, let me. Okay, it seems like there are more implementation questions, so I'll share my email address again. Okay, and my management desires a time series. So this question came from Galaxy, okay, J7. My management desires a time series with columns and then see one or two trend lines on the same graphic, like number of open incidents versus number of incidents closed by month. Yes, you can do that. You can create, when you're creating a widget, let me show you. I think actually we have it even out of the box with, I think on the incident management, or in the premium we have it. Just give me a second, I will find the dashboard where we'll create it. If not, I will explain to you how to create this. Yeah, okay, so I will just change this, it's just time series here. Okay, so while you're creating a new widget, as we created here, so I will make this a column chart, and you save it. So here we have an indicator, and this is the visualization, right? For this specific indicator, on your PA widget form, you are allowed to add more widgets at the bottom. So as I'm viewing now number of open incidents as a column, I can also add here number of new incidents, for example, number of new incidents. I can even specify breakdowns, or even if I wanted to follow an element, and then I can say that, okay, this is a line chart for this use case. And if I click twice update, I will move back to my dashboard. I hope I have records. Okay, as you can see here, I have the trend. Okay, the numbers don't look very well. Okay, I'll remove the open incidents. You can see here that the trend is there, right? So actually what you have to do is just specify widget indicators on your widget and specify the visualization you want for them, and then they will appear in the widgets on the dashboard. Did this answer your question? So the filter again, okay. Okay, so there is no filter actually. So all you have to do is, this is the widget form where you specify your main indicator and the visualization where we select it as column chart, the first one. And then, okay, you can specify, of course, a name, a label for it. And then here, there is a related list which is called widget indicators. If you click new, you can actually add another indicator on your chart where you will specify the indicator, any breakdowns that you want to select, if it will follow the dashboard filter or not. And then on the right side, you will select a different chart type based on what you already had. So yeah, this is line charts that can be added with column charts. So, and that's it. All you have to do, you can add multiple here. Instead of only having one, you can add another one. So I can say here number. You can even bring indicators for number of open problems or changes, for example, and then in one widget you will be able to see incident, problems, and changes. I'm not sure I have records on that breakdown. Apparently I do. Okay, so as you can see here, the number of new incidents are there. No, I do not have. I'm sorry. I got confused by the colors. Okay, and next question. Average resolution time of resolved incidents with knowledge attached. Average resolution time of resolved incidents with knowledge attached. Okay, well, the average resolution time, we already have the resolution time on our incident record. So you can create an indicator with the average resolution time. So all you have to do is just specify the filter that there is a knowledge attached. So out of the box, we have a field knowledge, which is a true or a false field. Usually that's what we did on High as well. We created a reference field to the knowledge base article that is actually being shared with you when you raise an incident. And that's how we know which knowledge base article was created and it was provided to you. And then you'll have your indicator. Srikanth, I hope I answered your question. Okay, thank you. And next question is from Edward. I need to measure the time the ticket is created to the time a team added a comment. Okay. That's a question that came from Edward Russell. So you want to find out when was the first update done to the user, to your customers, I suppose, but yeah, but I suppose you do want the first update because sometimes the caller might also provide additional feedback before even an engineer picked up the incident, right? So you want to make sure that the update that comes to the incident is from the assigned to person and not from someone else. Is that a correct assumption? Okay, so yeah, yeah, that's tricky. It's not very tricky, but it will be a bit difficult depending on how you implemented your incident management. So this is the first response, right? Time to the first response. So what you need to do is to create a metric definition. That's how I would do it, or you can also create a business rule to find out that the first update that happens on the incident is the one that actually with a sysmod count, with the lowest sysmod count. So let me show you a bit. So there are two different approaches. You can select either one of them. They will both work. The logic needs to be placed with what you actually want to do. So on your incident table, I will create where is it? Configure business rule. So in your business rule, what you need to create, okay, let me pick up here. It's first update to the customer. So I suppose you want to calculate the time it took, and then you want to keep either the assignment group or the assigned to, or to, yeah, well, one of the two, I suppose. Probably you want the assignment group so that you will know which groups are acting faster, I suppose. Well, it doesn't matter which field you are going to use. It's going to be the same thing. But we need to have a value only for the first time. So we need to calculate the duration when an update happens. So your business rule will run on update, and then you'll have to create a field. And now I will use, let's say, the duration, but we need to store the assignment group as well, right? So it has to be a metric, or we'll have to create two different, okay, sorry. We'll have to define a metric definition, and the metric definition will actually work on sysmod count, where we will see the update coming from the user that is the assigned to. Yeah, and that will give us. So I'm going to create the metric for you now. So name is first update. First update, and this will work on the incident table. So we need field value duration. Well, it has to be a scripted calculation. So let's say that you create, okay, here we pass. Let's say that we created a field for duration, or we don't need even a field for duration. All we need to pick up is the first update, the sysmod count, to be equals 1. Okay, that's a good one. I think, Edward, what I'm going to do, because it will take me a bit longer and we are running out of time slowly, I will send you an email with a response on how to do it, and I will also present that in the next meeting that we have, because I suppose there will be more people asking for this type of calculation, which is, and then we can actually share it with everyone. Okay, I see more people are asking for the email. I'm going to share it with you. And yeah, okay. Okay, I think there is time for one last question based on what I've seen. The rest I'm going to keep them, and I'm going to answer them in our next meeting. So the next one is from Shannon. Pivot breakdown widgets always show the latest period collected for all the indicators and the breakdown. Is there a way to be able to enable users to select periods themselves, perhaps by a drop-down or a workbench with bucket groups? Yeah, well, okay, that's a good question. At the moment, the pivot breakdowns, we do not allow to have the specific, it's on the widget level, the configuration for the periods. So yes, the end user will not be able to change it. It has to be done on the widget level, which they usually do not have access. And for the workbench, with bucket groups, yeah, that would be an option, because you could there specify, you can create a breakdown based on the age of the records that you are viewing, and they can select based on that. But yeah, I think these are the two options that we have currently for pivot breakdowns. The workbench will give you a better, it will be a better visualization for them, because it will be easier to filter based on different values. Or if you create this breakdown of the age, you can actually, it's a pivot, so it will not work on the dashboard. So yeah, I think that will be the best way out for you. Is there a connection between the group? Okay. Is there a connection between Okay. Quickly, why is there a connection between the group member table and the group table so that I can make a breakdown source that chooses a manager and shows all the tasks for their assignment groups? Well, the group member table has a link, has a reference field to the group table. So that will be the last thing because we are running out of time. Okay, so I'll go to the sys user group table. Hopefully we'll have, okay, so this is the table. In order to find out which field is actually pointing from, because, okay, let me move this a bit higher so that you can see the screen. As you can see here, this table is called sysuser_gr member, which is showing at the bottom of the screen. I will open the record and I'll show you the XML. So this is the table where we store the information, and there is a field. The table is called sysuser_gr member, and there is a field called group. This group is the field that is a reference field to the sysuser group table, and that's the link that you need to create your link between these two. Okay, is that okay, John? Using group member doesn't filter my widgets. Using group member doesn't filter my. John, I think you need to email me the use case, what exactly you did, and then we can take it offline. Yes, that would be faster because we need to understand a bit what you configured and how you configured it. Now, what is the best way to delete automated indicators that we no longer need? We created some wrong indicator source, and since we could not change the indicator source, we had to recreate the automated indicator. The automated indicators have scores. Okay, so if you want to delete indicators, that usually depends on how many records you have. So the best way to delete automated indicators, well, you just have to, I don't know if do we allow deletion from indicators when they have scores? Yeah, we do allow the deletion, but we have a job that is checking every few seconds if you actually delete your indicator. The moment you delete your indicator, then a job will be triggered, and that will actually delete all your scores. Now, it depends. If you want to delete too many indicators that have quite a lot of scores, then if there are too many, for example, if you want to delete half of the table and the table is quite big, I would suggest that you'd rather raise an incident for our support team, and they will be able to delete them. But that's the only thing, the only reason why I'm saying it is if you delete, for example, 50 indicators who have scores for a couple of years, that will have quite a lot of scores to be deleted. So it's better to ask our support engineers to do it if there are that many. But if it's 2 or 3 or 5 or 10, then you can do it one by one so that you will not affect the performance of the instance. Okay. And I think I'm going to stop now. Okay, I'll go quickly through the rest of the questions. I will answer them. I keep all the questions. Okay, and I missed the last office hours, and you indicated the presentation was done on Spotlight. Is there a presentation that we can get post or set? I don't remember if our PM had the presentation or not. He had the presentation, but I think also the recording is posted on the community. So I think, yes, it is posted in the community. So you can probably, if you navigate to the URL in our community where you found the link for this session, you will see a recording there. And I think that's what you are asking. And I think that's it for today. Okay, so thank you very much, everyone. It's almost at the top of the hour today. I know that there were quite a lot of questions. Please feel free to email me. Just please keep in mind that I am in Amsterdam, so I'm working from the Amsterdam office. So there might be a bit slowness in responding to you. I'll respond tomorrow because it's 6 p.m. here. Your time, it's 10 a.m. now for you. So yes, but I will do my best and I will answer all of you. And in our next office hours, I will provide the responses that I gave you so that the rest of the people will be able to have this. Great, thank you very much. And please remember, next office hours will be in 2 weeks from now, and it will be in Madrid release. And I'm looking forward to meeting and discussing with you. Thank you very much, everyone.